What's up guys, my name is Grant Thompson. I have a YouTube channel with just about 9.5 million subscribers, almost 2 billion video views. We've been making videos for about 7 years. Kind of the backyard science feel. It's Mythbusters versus MacGyver kind of feel. Basically sciencey guy stuff, but girls can play too. So I was born and raised in Calgary, Canada. That's about a 14-hour drive north of where we're at right now. Kind of had a rough start in life. I got bullied in school, didn't have many friends. I was what you consider like the loner, the geek, the loser. In fact, not even the losers would hang out with me. I didn't have a group. And it was almost like a catalyst to help get me to where I'm at, because maybe in some way or another it made me feel like I needed to overachieve at everything rather than just being like happy with life and being content. I always felt like I had to go the extra mile and really dig into things and make an impression. And all these things really just because I think in a way I kind of wanted to prove to myself that I was worth something, because all the kids at school was telling me that I wasn't. When I was about 14 years old, my dad bought me an airplane ride, and I went up in this airplane and feeling discouraged about life. It was a mind-shifting experience because I looked down at all these houses, the schools, everything that seemed so overwhelming as a kid, and it was very small. All the cars were small, the people were small. It made me realize there was a big world out there that I could go after. So I decided to take control of my life and get as many licenses and certificates and everything that I could. I became a bus driver, a truck driver. I worked on the oil rigs as a roughneck. I got licensed and certified in explosives. I worked blowing up dynamite in the mountains. And I decided to be a pilot. A lot of people thought I was too young to be a pilot. I was 21 years old, and it was funny. I would get people walking into the cockpit on the jets, and they'd look at me and they'd ask me, like, are you even old enough to have a driver's license? Because I looked so young. So people wonder, like, how did I get into the airlines so quickly? The first thing I did was try to get in contact with people who were already pilots and ask them, how did you go from knowing absolutely nothing about flying to being an airline pilot? And after talking to one pilot and getting some ideas, I started talking to more pilots, and I get more referrals. And over the course of 3 months, I talked to over 100 different pilots. And what was interesting is they all had different stories, but I noticed there were common themes in every story. And I almost saw it as like a connect the dots. It's like if I took these elements from each one of these stories and I connected those dots, I could have like the fastest way to become an airline pilot myself. Rather than going to university, I just bought the books, I studied the books, and then I went and challenged the exams and got, what do you call them, like A's? I kind of aced the exams, which was awesome. And I did all that in 3 weeks. So within 3 weeks, I had my private pilot's license, and 2 months later, I was a commercial pilot. And with my commercial pilot's license, I found a company in Hawaii that I went to fly for, and I got all my multi-engine experience flying over the ocean, instrument rating. And so within just a few months after that, I was sucked up into the airlines in the United States of America. And in the meantime, I got into real estate. I bought 11 houses, I fixed them up, and rented them out, and at age 29 I semi-retired because the rent money coming in paid for all of our living expenses, and so finally I had some free time to explore my childhood dream of being like Tony Stark. When you think about life in general, I mean, there's a lot of things that people are scared of. There's probably two main things that people are afraid of, and that's dying and poverty. And I came from a family that wasn't very well off. And so I kind of came from a poverty mentality, and I always wanted to get to a place where I didn't have to ever deal with that again. So when I heard that we might be headed for another recession or depression, I almost felt like a sense of urgency to figure out what I could do to prepare so that if even everything fell apart, we'd still be maintaining a pretty good quality of life. And with all the resources that we have available in this world, I felt like it would have been kind of squandering them if I didn't just like stop immediately and dive into all the sciences and the technologies and how things worked and make them my own. Some of my first projects were what we call the Mega Solar Scorcher, which is a lens that takes sunlight and concentrates it to a laser beam that can melt metal. I also made improvised arc welder out of microwave parts that will weld metal together, and rocket fuel using stump remover and sugar. They came from a lot of different sources. I mean, the microwave I literally found in my neighbor's garbage can. I was just driving past his house one day, big old microwave sticking out of the top of the garbage can. I was like, slammed on the brakes, threw open the trunk, and took the microwave home to see what was inside. But for other electronics, I would just go on the classified ads. So getting on there, finding amplifiers, finding any kind of electronics, anything with an electric motor, I just got off the free section of the classified ads because, you know, if I broke it, which was totally my intention, I didn't feel bad because I didn't have anything invested in it. And the more people I showed these to, the more they told me that I was like the king of random, just with really weird projects, and that kind of stuck. The first thought to start putting videos on YouTube probably came in about 2010. Because as I was learning about how things work, going to the school of Grant Thompson, I was using Wikipedia and YouTube as references to figure out how things work. Now the frustration I had with YouTube is anyone who was doing stuff with Tesla coils or electrical equipment would have their handy cam and they'd make a 20-minute video just with the camera shaking and this and that, and I'd feel nauseous. And most of the time the videos didn't even tell me what I wanted to know. I'd have to watch 4 or 5 different videos to extract the information. So once I started learning about how things worked, I felt like I almost wanted to give back to the community by making really short, concise, to-the-point videos with background music and good editing, so it was an enjoyable experience to pass on all the knowledge that I've been learning. The King of Random right now, you may have noticed if you're watching the videos, I'm not actually in the videos, which was another milestone. I hit another point after 1.5 years of making videos for fun where I was just realizing still, even though it was easy to make videos, I still couldn't take a vacation. You know, by this point I had a couple people working for me and they're like, hey, what about vacation time? Can I take 2 weeks off? And I started thinking to myself, can I take 2 weeks off? You know, I've been making videos for 7 years, I'm ready for a break, and I can't schedule time off for myself. So I wanted to figure out a way that I could get the freedom to travel, to learn, to explore, to do anything that I wanted without being tied to a routine that required me to be in my videos. And the only way to do that was to bring in a new host, which was really risky again. You know, we had over 8 million subscribers who had grown with me. So to bring in a new face, I wasn't sure if it was going to kill the channel off completely or if it would be doing well. But I also made a decision that at that point wasn't going to matter because it's about quality of life now. It's not about, you know, the channel or doing well. It's like if we can keep content coming to people and I can have a good quality of life, that's what it's about. And now 7 years later, it's grown into a pretty massive movement where now we're getting a lot of mainstream attention. We've been on Jimmy Fallon, Dr. Oz, Good Morning America, and Discovery Channel. We want to be one of the top players, and right now we are still one of the top creators in the YouTube world. And I feel like rather than being burned out and sick and just giving up, I'm actually more refreshed now, more energetic and more optimistic about our channel than I've ever been because it doesn't depend on me and I can shift and move systems, and I've built it out in a way that we've got content for the next 3 or 4 years completely independent of me. So my job now is just to tweak, make things better, see what feels right, what doesn't feel right, and manage. And so for me that's like putting puzzle pieces together. What does the future hold for the King of Random? I'm not exactly sure. We're preparing for it to be one of the best channels ever on YouTube and on the internet. We've got the foundation for that and that's what we're building for. But you know, we live in a society where times change very quickly, so we want to also be positioned where we can adapt. Or worst case scenario, you know, maybe the King of Random time's over and we'll just go on living happy lives and find something else to do. I'm not really sure, but we are planning for a really great future, producing great content like we've been doing for years to come. Hey guys, thanks for joining me. It's been awesome just spending some casual time with you and just like really getting into depth about where we came from, how we built this channel, and where we're going. And if you haven't seen us yet, we're on YouTube, The King of Random, youtube.com/thekingofrandom, or come check us out on our website, thekingofrandom.com. Got some shirts that you can pick up. You can join our Random Nation. It's been cool hanging out with you. I hope we get to see you more in the future. You may not see my face, but just know that I am behind the scenes helping make all this work, and you're the ones that we're doing it for.